We know who and what will be on the San Antonio City election ballot come May 6th, and we know there will at least be 2 new faces on the new city council. So to talk about how the races are shaping up so far, we have Gilbert Garcia, Metro columnist for the San Antonio Express News, joining us for the KSAT Q&A. Gilbert, always great to have you. Let's first start with a race that's gotten a lot of attention, not necessarily for what's happened in council. District 10, Clayton Perry not running for re-election after his DWI charge. But there's one candidate you've reported on that's getting a lot of endorsement already in that race.
Right. Mark White, who's a local attorney, actually ran for Texas House in 2018. He was actually a candidate for an appointment to city council in 2019 when Clayton Perry thought about leaving office and running for county commissioner. So he's been in the mix for a while. And you had several former council members encouraging Clayton Perry not to run again because of the fact that he had the legal issues, personal issues. They wanted him to they thought it would be a distraction. And many of them supported Mark White. And as soon as Clayton Perry announced that he wasn't going to run, you had 7 former council members going back. Their tenures go back to 1981. And they've got very different views on a lot of things, but they all agree that they think Mark White would be the best candidate.
And Gilbert, over on the Northwest side, District 7, Anna Sandoval deciding to step down to take care of her family. There will be a new face there. What are we expecting in District 7?
I think that is going to be a really interesting race. You've got Marina Gavito, who is with SA Digital Connect. She's the daughter of former council member Joe Alderete. I think she's getting a lot of attention. You also have Dan Rossiter, who's with the Southwest Research Institute. I think it's likely that the race will boil down to those 2 candidates. I think those are the 2 that will probably have the most success.
How about District 1? That's always a race that gets a lot of names on the ballot. But of course, there is the drama, the controversy that played out between Sandoval and Mario Bravo. He is running again for that seat. But is there anything that you are looking at when it comes to either his re-election or anybody else who could be taking that seat?
I think he's worked really hard in the past few months to try to strengthen his position. He had a really good fundraising period over the final months of 2022. He was dealing with controversy over the construction of the St. Mary Strip, a lot of disgruntled business people there, even though this was a project that really began before he took office. And I think he's worked to try to mend fences there. He pushed to get some American Rescue Plan Act funding that could help with businesses who've gone through this. And because there are so many candidates, there's a good possibility of a runoff. You've got a couple of candidates there that have gotten a lot of attention. I think Suk Kar, who's an educational consultant, she got in the race early and she raised more than $40,000 in the final couple of months of 2022. You've also got Jeremy Roberts, who's a digital marketing executive, who I think is also going to be a pretty formidable candidate.
District 2 over on the east side, always competitive, always so many candidates running for that seat. That typically runs into a runoff, it seems. Will Jalen McKee, do you think, will he end up in a runoff in that one?
I wouldn't be surprised. I looked back. I know that we always have a lot of candidates in District 10, and I didn't remember how many we had in 2021. I looked back and we had 14, and I think this time we've got 10. So this is kind of what happens. We've had a lot of turnover in District 2. I think he will make the case that it's to the benefit of the district to have some continuity there, to have someone serving longer than a couple of years, because that hasn't happened for a while. But what we've seen with him, he came in 2021 at the same time that Terry Castillo was elected on the west side in District 5, and they were both very progressive, maybe basically movement conservatives, Bernie Sanders progressives. And there were people in the business community wanting to make sure that there were one-term council members. And I think he has a lot more competition in his district, but it'll be interesting to see what happens in both of those races.
How about the mayor's race? Always a race that draws a lot of names, some of the same names we see every time a city election rolls around. Do you think Ron Nierenberg has any real competition in that one?
I don't. I think this is going to be the easiest election for a mayor who's had some tough ones. I mean, his first 2 elections as mayor went to runoff. The third one with the Greg Brockhouse was much easier. But still a competitive race, a race that you had to take seriously. This time, I think what's happened is we've seen people who might have thought about running for mayor looking at this situation and saying, he's going to win. He's in a solid position. I'm going to wait 2 years. And in 2 years, I think we're going to see a lot of names. We're probably going to see some people who are on the dais right now throwing their hat in the ring.
A couple of months ago, it seemed like this was going to be frankly, a kind of a boring election. Really not much excitement surrounding that. But now we've had some of the names of city council people making headlines. You've also got the San Antonio Justice Charter that has a lot of divisive topics rolled into it. Does that do anything for voter turnout in an otherwise, lackluster turnout that we tend to see in city elections?
Yeah, turnout is always small, but I think that we'll probably get a boost from the Justice Charter Coalition. Some of the same people working on this worked on Proposition B, which narrowly failed in 2021. That would have stripped collective bargaining power away from the San Antonio Police Union, and that really gave a boost to turnout. And as you said, things have changed a lot as far as the makeup of the races. We didn't have any council members who were term limited out this time, so it looked very likely that we would have everyone reelected, and many of them in easy fashion. But we had District 10 and District 7 council members decide to step down. We had Clayton Perry and Mario Bravo get censured in the past few months, and the District 2 race has certainly become a very crowded field. So there's a lot more going on than we would have anticipated a few months ago.
Gilbert Garcia, Metro columnist with the San Antonio Express News. Always appreciate you being here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Keep up to date with all of San Antonio's top news, weather, and so much more by clicking the like and subscribe buttons below. And once again, thanks for watching KSAT.